Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Saga. Dave Cottingham with Hannah Burr.
Hello, say what?
Say what? Yeah, it's been a little bit for Beyond the Saga, but
Been a while.
we are going to make a conservative effort here to knock out some of these things, mainly the comic series that we've been, we started some, but we kind of haven't continued them. So as I finish some of these other novels up, before we get into those, we got some comics that we can continue, mainly the Star Wars comic line that takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. We're also finishing up the Vader series, which is the second series that takes place right after episode 3. Mm-hmm. And then we'll continue, because then there's a third Vader series that happens at the same time the Star Wars series is going on. So
Right.
got some comics to do, but some great stories here. And on this episode, we are going to be talking about the second volume of Star Wars called Operation Starlight, which consists of issues 7 through 11 of the Star Wars series that takes place, again, between Empire and Return of the Jedi. We did the first 6 issues on a previous Beyond the Saga, so check that out. And mainly this is, of course, written by Charles Soule, which is one of the greatest writers out there for this stuff. So, and this came out, a while ago. This came out back in 2021. So it's now just kind of finishing up this whole series of this volume, because it went up to 50 issues. So it's a good run of this series. So I'm eager to get into this and read this, because I haven't read this series yet, unlike the other, like the Vader one, I have read. So Hannah, let's get back into this and get our mind right on this stuff. What did you think about these issues?
All right. So with Star Wars, what we're looking at is a character with the name of Commander Zahra. I think that's how you pronounce it. Who is essentially, she's trying to stop the rebellion, but it's very personal for her. She has a personal vendetta against Princess Leia. This takes place after episode 5, so it's between 5 and 6. So, Han isn't really in the picture because he's frozen in
Carbonite.
Carbonite. I almost said kryptonite, and I'm like, that's not correct. That is the wrong universe entirely. Carbonite. And so with that, we get more of Commander Zahra's background. We see them potentially face off. Who knows? That's a spoiler. Mm-hmm. Overall, in reading this, while I liked it, and I like the fact that we get somebody who uses revenge, and I think also we potentially get a point of view on the fact of, this could be what the quote-unquote modern-day Inquisitor is for Vader. Because, one question we have is, what happened to the Inquisitors?
Yeah.
Were they all disbanded? Did they morph? Because in the earlier Vader comics, we did see that Palpatine was experimenting a bit with some cloning technology, some DNA splitting technology, so maybe that's what this is. Maybe that's what happened to the Inquisitors. Maybe not. We don't know. But overall, I feel like if I didn't have this story, and I'm sure more is to come because it's not over yet. The story isn't over yet. So I'm sure there's more to come. But at this moment, I'm kind of sitting here going, I don't understand how this truly impacts the entire Star Wars Skywalker saga. What about you?
Well, I think... the big thing I liked about this was I was really into, the first couple issues, because it was really about Commander Zahra and really understanding her link to Tarkin, which is really cool. I think this did a great job of telling that kind of a deeper story, and I love the fact that you kind of see, what happens, why she wasn't on the Death Star, and why we all know why Tarkin was there. So that kind of develops this vendetta against Princess Leia, obviously.
And also survivor's guilt.
That's right, totally. So I love that part of it. I think that was really neat. Now, later on, it kind of gets into this mission to find this droid, and that part kind of, whatever. I think in the next volume, I see maybe where this is going to go. So it may build up itself. Because you got to think about this. I think this is, there's a certain amount of time that we have, right? We have 3 years. I'm sorry, it's only 1 year between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So less time than we had when we did Star Wars between A New Hope and Empire, right? Because that was 3 years. And so I think these issues are all kind of going to be slammed together, and there's going to be just continuation of story after story after story that's not going to have really a lot of time jumping in as this builds up. So I think in the end, it's going to all kind of get figured out, because that's the way Charles Soule is. That's how good he is. So I agree with you. I think the impact of this thing is, I think Zahra, she's going to be pretty vital, I think, through this whole series, this part, because there is no Tarkin, obviously. And, it seems like she's kind of the one that the Emperor and Vader is kind of leaning on as being that next, even the Palpatine mentioned in this, it's like, there is no Thrawn, there is no Tarkin, who's left, and this is the person that kind of trained under Tarkin. So she has stepped up. It's funny because I remember for a while that we talked about Admiral Sloane, who's been around for a while, but I'm surprised her name hasn't been mentioned much, because she's definitely around this whole time. So it's interesting that this commander has come up, and they're leaning on her just because I think she has Tarkin's kind of, ruthlessness in a sense, about and vendetta against, like you said, events against the rebellion. So that part is interesting. I think, even the cover kind of highlights mainly the Empire. It's not necessarily focusing on the rebels really right now. It's really about Zahra and what she's trying to prove to Vader and Palpatine. So it's a little less about, Luke, Leia, and then there's this whole thing about Lando, which is a little weird that's going on there.
I was just about to say, you want to talk about, you need to close up loose ends. I don't think this is a spoiler necessarily if I say that something happens that it's at the point where Lando has no more faith in the rebellion. So
Right.
How the heck do you get from that point to a year later where he's conspiring with Luke to save Han? Like, how do you get from point A to point B?
Yeah, obviously, I think we'll see that through the next 40 issues, I guess, and see, because that's interesting to see that Lando, hasn't really changed from what we have known from him in Empire, and then of course he is changed by the time we get to Return. So he's the one that's really interesting to follow throughout this. Leia's not going to be different really, and Luke is gonna. I feel like we're gonna get a lot more of Luke still finding his place a little bit, because in the end that was a pretty big jump too from Empire to Jedi. I mean, Empire, he got his butt kicked, got his hand cut off, didn't have a lightsaber. Then all of a sudden he shows up in Return of the Jedi, pretty much a seasoned Jedi with a saber. So there's a lot of growth there too that I'm interested in seeing and wondering how he gets there. Without having yet, I don't think, as far as we know, he doesn't go to Yoda between this time. Not until he gets to Return of the Jedi does he go back. So, where does he get some of this training, and how does he figure out how to build his lightsaber and things like that? That's pretty interesting for me.
Yeah. I just am kind of sitting here going, okay, we got a year to cover. How are we going to do this?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a lot of issues for. Again, I think it was, between A New Hope and Empire. I think we got less issues. I think that was only 25 issues in 3 years, and now we got 50 issues in 1 year. So it's like there's a lot they're jamming in this time period. So, and I'm not sure how much Charles Soule. I don't know if he writes the whole thing, but I know he does a lot this first part. So impact, yeah. So you don't feel like it's got the impact yet on this?
Not yet. I'm
Yeah.
sure in future issues I'm going to be like, "Oh, yes. This is what's connecting A to B." But currently just with like Lando all of a sudden be like, "I don't have faith in the rebellion." You have this new character come in. It's just it's a
Yeah.
lot, and I really want to know how we get from A to B. Especially with just a year to do so.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board though. I think I like the gap feeling of this, between these movies, because there is some stories there to tell. One thing I was confused about that I needed to look up again, but I thought, because they mention, if you notice that Poe's parents are in this, and they mention Poe, like I think the mom says,
It
tell
was
Poe I
so
love him.
brief. So brief.
It was, but I for some reason I didn't think he was born yet. I was under the impression that he was born right after the Battle of Endor. So I could be wrong, but I thought that was always the case. But
I thought his
could be wrong.
parents, like he was a baby when his parents fought with the Battle of Endor.
Okay, is that what it was?
Am I wrong? 1 second.
I don't know. I don't know. I gotta take me a second to look it up. But I thought there was a comic right after Endor, and it was kind of insinuated that, and maybe it wasn't flat out said, so that's why I could be wrong. But I thought Poe was born shortly after that. So, but I could be wrong. Poe.
He was born 2 ABY on the 10th day of the 5th month.
2 ABY. Oh, okay. So then he was born actually before Empire. 2 years after the Battle of Yavin. Okay. Well, then I was wrong. Yeah. So that means he's about 1 or 2 years old there during this time. So
Yeah, that's according to Wikipedia.
yeah. Okay. All right. So what's your rating on this?
Just because the jury's out still regarding the impact, I'm going to give it a nice solid 3.
3. Yeah. I'll go 3.5. I thought it was good. Not quite a 4, but it was good. It was good 3.5. Like I said, the first couple issues were really strong, and then it kind of got into this this droid mission thing that really wasn't that. That kind of drug out a little bit too much, but it's going to get back into some craziness. Actually, the next volume looks like it is kind of War of the Bounty Hunter time period, so which we have covered already. That was a kind of a separate storyline, but this is the volume. This next series is kind of the tie-in to that. So I believe we covered War of the Bounty Hunters already, I think, right?
Fairly sure we did.
Yeah. So now, but all these comics around it, like Dr. Aphra, Vader, they all kind of had they all kind of ran their own storyline. So that's interesting. The War of Bounty Hunters was a great series. So We'll do that one next soon.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. We're back at it with some Beyond the Sagas. Look for some more content, comics, of course, novels as I finish up some of these. Like I got to finish up Thrawn, and then I got to finish up Rise of the Red Blade. I know Hannah's already passed me on some of these. What are you doing next? Because I got to get you a book, or I can get you a book or something. Like, because Mace Windu's out. I would definitely want to do that.
Next?
That just came out. I want to do that one. I don't know what else. I don't know what else you haven't done.
I'm sure there's a lot I haven't done.
Have you finished the Thrawn? You did all three of the Ascendancy books, right?
I did do. Well, I know for a fact that with the High Republic, I'm so.
Oh, High Republic.
behind.
Yeah.
I'm so behind on the High Republic. It's not funny.
Yeah, same.
I'm behind on
same.
that. But maybe I hop on Mace next.
Yeah, Mace will be fun. But we'll see about that one. I've been hearing some good things about that one. So
Yeah, this week's a busy week for me. Next week is also a busy week. And then it's the week of Thanksgiving, which snuck up on us for some reason.
Yes.
But after that week, based on the workload I have, I think I'll be able to get away with listening. It's not like you're my boss's boss or anything, but
right.
but I might get away with listening to some audiobooks while working based on the tasks I have to do.
Interesting. Yeah. Yep.
A lot of inventory, a lot of
yes,
counting stuff, a lot of mindless stuff. So yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody, of course, for watching and tuning in and checking this out. More Beyond the Sagas that we've done. You can check them all out. We've got a big list on Inside the Forces YouTube channel. Go check those out. And let us know if you have a suggestion too. If you want to hit, we're trying to cover as much as we can, but if anything out there is, you want to know about pretty, ahead of the game of everything else, then we can try to focus on those. So, all right. Thanks, Hannah, as always.
Thank you, Dave, as always.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care. May the Force be with you.